All right, happy Tuesday. So today, if you are at home, your last name is L through Z, or sorry, A through K, and you're at home, you're going to be completing the diffusion practice problems. RLA students, you are also going to be completing the diffusion practice problem. So, diffusion practice, open it up here. If you're in class, you're doing it with me. Yay! Okay, so you're going to open with Kimmy, and we'll let that load. So remember, diffusion is the movement of molecules from a high concentration to a low concentration. We're also going to be looking at osmosis today. It's the movement of water. So, diffusion, the movement of molecules from an area of greater concentration into an area of lesser concentration until the concentration is the same everywhere. It occurs spontaneously. It occurs to the molecules in constant motion, colliding with each other until they become evenly distributed, and it is responsible for the movement of substances such as gases and cellular waste inside and outside of the cells. So here is a typical human body cell that contains the proportions of substances. So a human cell is 70% water, 15% proteins, 2% lipids, 1% inorganic ions such as sodium, potassium, calcium, and magnesium, 7% nucleic acids, 3% carbohydrates, that takes up 2% of sugar and 1% of starch, and 2% of all other substances. Okay? So let's do some highlights. Okay, so assume for this activity that water, maybe, that didn't work either, guys. Sorry. Oh, I guess I'll draw it. So water, inorganic ions, sugar, and other substances. So let's erase this. I thought I could just highlight it. Oh well. Okay, so water, inorganic ions, sugars, and other substances can pass through the cell membrane, and that proteins, nucleic acids, starch, and lipids cannot. So our water, our inorganic ions, our sugar, and our other substances is what is permeable to our cell membrane today. So that's what we're going to be focusing on, things that can enter and exit the cell. Okay? All right. For example, an increase in the percentage of CO2 inside a cell wall would have the same effect. Okay, so here we go. So we're looking at the percentages down here. This is my cell. So this is outside the cell. I'm going to type. So this is outside the cell, inside the cell. Okay? Now, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be looking at the concentrations and determining which way the water or molecules are going to shift in diffusion. Okay, we're working on diffusion, not osmosis here. Hypertonic, hypotonic, that's going to be later this week. Okay, so water in this box has a 65% on the outside. So water is 65%. Okay, what is water in the average human body? Well, up here it says 70%. So inside water, so water is 70%. Okay? So if water is 65% outside and 70% inside, which way will the water shift? Inside or outside of the cell? Well, remember, it wants to reach an equilibrium. So for it to do that, there's more water on the inside of the cell that's going to shift outside of the cell so that those 70 and 65% can even themselves out. Okay? Now let's look at ions. Okay, let's do green. Okay, so our ions are 5% on the inside, on the outside in the solution. So I'm going to do big I for ions is 5%. What about inside? Well, If we look up here, inside a cell is about sorry, I froze for a second. The screen did, not me. So the ions are 5% on the outside. In the cell, they are ions, inorganic ions, 1%. So which one is greater, outside or inside? Well, 5% on the outside, 1% on the inside. To balance that out, our ions are going to try to shift inside the cell. Okay? Now we're going to look at what else? Proteins. Can proteins cross our membrane? Did I circle that up here? Nope, so we're going to ignore it. Sugar. Can sugar cross our membrane? Absolutely. I circled it. 2% sugar. So sugar, let's do purple. So sugar is 2% on the inside of the cell. And sugar is, based on this, 3% in the test tube. Okay? So which way is it going to shift? Well, there's more on the outside than there is on the inside, so to even that out, it's going to shift in towards the cell. Nucleic acids. We did not circle that up here. See, nucleic acids is the next one, but it's not able to pass the cell membrane, so we don't have to worry about it. Starch. Can starch pass the cell membrane? Nope. Lipids? Nope. Other? Yes. So other is the last one we need to do. Let's do that in red. So O for other, on the inside of the cell, our other substances are 2%. I get that from up here. Okay. On the outside, our others are 1%. Okay. Which one is larger? Inside of the cell is 2%, outside is 1%. So to try to even that out, it's going to shift out of the cell. Okay, so that is how you are going to complete this worksheet. All right, just like this. So you're going to be looking at your percents for the cell from up here, and then your percents from the bottom on the outside down here. Now remember, you only need to do those that cross the cell membrane. So water, ions, sugars, and other substances. So you have 3 more of those to do. And then you have some questions to answer. Your notes will be very helpful from yesterday. So the difference between diffusion and osmosis, what is a concentration gradient, what does selective permeability mean, give some examples of substances that can move through a cell membrane and substances that cannot. Well, those can come from right here. Okay. Okay, number 4 asks you to think about the isotonic, hypotonic, and hypertonic. So try your best with this one. Remember, hyper means more solute. Hypo means less solute. And we will shift, the water will shift from the hypo to the hyper. Okay? So explain the difference between hypotonic and hypertonic. I just helped you with that one. And if you donate blood to the Red Cross, they store your blood cells in different solutions. Would that solution be hypotonic, hypertonic, or isotonic? And why do you think that? Okay, that is it for today. Good luck. Let me know if you have questions.